So among all the Vedic literatures, this Srimad Bhagavatam particularly deals with exclusively Krishna, the subject matter of Krishna. So therefore he calls it Krishna Samhita, means the Bhagavatam is the particular Vedic literature describing exclusively Lord Sri Krishna and his energies. So Bhagavatam explains the absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his expansions and his energies. This is the absolute truth. So his expansions are, because he is an unlimited personality, his expansions are also unlimited. Of all the expansions of Krishna, the particular expansion meant for all his activities in terms of his creation, maintenance, destruction, and his role as the Lord of the spiritual world, the Lord of the material worlds and the spiritual world. He is present as Narayana. So many parts of the scriptures there is description of Narayana as the Supreme Lord. And sometimes people think, when it is described that Narayana incarnates in this material world in the form of various incarnations, so people think, oh, Narayana incarnates as Krishna. Among the many incarnations of Narayana, one of the incarnations is Krishna. Yes, Krishna is an incarnation. Yes, that's correct. But Krishna is not an incarnation of Narayana. This is a confidential revelation, especially in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Ete chamsha kala pumsaha krishnastu bhagavan swayam. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Even though he incarnates in so many different forms called Amsha and Kala. Amsha means his plenary expansion, plenary portion. Plenary portion means Krishna, who is the ultimate reservoir of all opulences, all potencies, he expands into forms which are complete as much as he is full with all potencies and all opulences. His Amsha, plenary expansions like Balaram, Narayana, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, all of them are complete with all the potencies and all the opulences. So this is very difficult to understand ordinarily, that even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one. Is one person. He is the only person who is the Supreme Lord. But still, He is present in the form of His plenary portions, Amsha, as so many different personalities with the same powers, same opulences, same potencies. So that is again Krishna's unique position. Only He can expand like that. Even though we are Jiva, Jivatma, we are His very, very insignificant part. So we have some qualities of Krishna. And one of the qualities of Krishna is He can expand Himself. Even the Jivatmas can expand themselves. But one should not think that just because we have some qualities of Krishna and we have the quality, one of the qualities of Krishna, that He can expand Himself, we can also expand ourselves. So therefore we are equal to Krishna. No. That is pointed out in the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the difference? When we expand, this is explained in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, the last chapter, 90th chapter. Shukadeva Goswami is summarizing Krishna's extraordinary activities, which he elaborately described in 89 chapters. 90th chapter is summarizing, concluding the 10th canto. So he says, Krishna was present in Dwaraka with 16,108 queens. So Srila Prabhupada explains in Krishna book that we have heard in history very powerful kings, they used to have many hundreds of queens. But Krishna was enjoying with those queens, present with those queens of his, simultaneously with every one of them. That means Krishna had expanded himself into 16,108 forms, all identical, all with the complete powers, the complete opulences. Whereas any Jivatma cannot simultaneously be present with each of his wives. Not possible. Secondly, even if they try to expand, they cannot expand into unlimited expansions. Everything about Krishna is unlimited. Everything about ourselves is limited. So a Jivatma can expand his form into 8 or 10 forms. That's all, maximum. Not more than that. That is one difference. Krishna can expand into any number of forms. Unlimited numbers. And as Paramatma, he is seated in everyone's heart. He has expanded himself as Paramatma into, we cannot count how many living entities are there in this material creation. We cannot count. Into each and every living being's heart, he is expanded and present as Paramatma. Individually for each one of us. Nobody can do that. Then again, it was observed by Narad Muni when he visited Dwaraka, that Narad Muni noticed Krishna is present with all of his queens, but in each palace that Narad Muni was able to visit, he saw Krishna engaged in different activities with his queens. The description is there in the 10th canto by Shukadeva Goswami. Whereas a Jivatma expands into 10 forms, those expansions will be all performing the same activity. Prabhupada gives the example of this television. If there is one particular channel on which you tune your television, on that channel, in all the televisions, the same thing will be coming. The same program which is broadcast in that channel will be coming from the original place, the station, the broadcasting station. Like that, so if in one form the Jivatma who is expanded in 10 forms lifts his hand, all the 10 forms lifting the hand. Not possible to do different activities simultaneously in the 10 forms. Not possible. So there are differences between the Jivatma and the Supreme Lord in every aspect of similarity. This is not understood by many philosophers. Only the pure devotees of Krishna, or those devotees who follow the pure devotional path, can understand this confidential knowledge about the difference between Krishna and everyone else. Therefore, Krishna's pastimes are specifically described by Shukadeva Goswami in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is 12 cantos. But 10th canto is the biggest canto. Why? Because at the beginning of the 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami, who is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions and Shukadeva Goswami is giving answers. So Parikshit Maharaj, at the end of the 9th canto, in the 9th canto, Shukadeva Goswami has described different dynasties. And in each dynasty, he has described some extraordinary personalities in that dynasty. Many of those extraordinary personalities who appeared in some dynasty are pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, or the Supreme Lord himself in his various incarnations appeared in various dynasties. So Shukadeva Goswami described Raghu Vamsha, Lord Ramachandra appeared in that Raghu Vamsha. And in the Yadu Vamsha, Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva. Now, when he briefly described each of those great personalities, their qualities, their characteristics, throughout the 9th canto, So he also briefly described the last chapter of the 9th canto, ends with description of Krishna who appeared in Yaduvamsha. So some few qualities, characteristics of Krishna, Shukadeva Goswami mentioned, and 9th canto is over. He finished answering about dynasty, Parikshit Maharaj's question. Immediately, Parikshit's response, rather, next question Parikshit asked Shukadeva Goswami, I want to know more details about Krishna. Immediately. Actually, Parikshit is asking on our behalf. He is not asking for himself. Why? Parikshit himself is a devotee of Krishna. And what about Shukadeva Goswami? Shukadeva Goswami is also a devotee of Krishna. So Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami both are the confidential devotees of Krishna. But for Shukadeva Goswami to reveal those details of Krishna, he actually simply doesn't describe, now I'll tell you everything about Krishna. No. It is in the form of questions by Parikshit and answers by Shukadeva Goswami. That makes it very interesting, the whole description. Because Parikshit Maharaj, even though in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, he asked so many questions. In fact, in the 2nd canto, 8th chapter, that chapter is entitled Questions by King Parikshit. What's the title of the chapter? Questions by King Parikshit. He asks a whole lot of questions. The entire chapter is only questions by King Parikshit. And Parikshit is a very intelligent person. He ends his list of questions by one last question in that chapter. It is described, kindly answer all my questions. And those questions are exhaustive. Because what Shukadeva Goswami's answers are there in the rest of the Bhagavatam, his answers to all those questions. Systematically, Shukadeva Goswami answers each of those questions. But then finally, he also asks, kindly answer all these questions and also tell me something more which is important for me to know, regarding which I have not asked you any question. So what remains for Shukadeva Goswami to answer or tell, speak? In other words, he wants to know everything about the ultimate reality or absolute truth. So then what will Shukadeva Goswami say? Because Parikshit has only 7 days time. 7 days time, that's all. So within 7 days, the entirety about the description of the absolute truth has to be given by Shukadeva Goswami. So what does Shukadeva Goswami say to actually satisfy Parikshit Maharaj? Because Krishna is the sum total of everything, describing Krishna is describing completely the absolute truth. That's why Shukadeva Goswami is a genius among geniuses. So that is the confidential knowledge revealed in the Bhagavatam, that Krishna is everything, and if you know Krishna, you know everything. And by the way, This is told by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything that is there in the Bhagavatam is there in the Bhagavad Gita also. This is directly told by Stoka Krishna Swami in the Bhagavatam, that one knows Krishna, one knows everything. Krishna is everything, therefore. One knows Krishna, one knows everything. In the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, 19th verse, Krishna tells, Yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sa sarvavit bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. What is the meaning of this verse? Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is to be understood as the knower of everything. One who knows Krishna knows everything. That's told in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna himself. But in the Bhagavatam, Stoka Krishna Swami says the same thing, but he elaborately explains the details of Krishna. Krishna briefly describes about himself in the Bhagavad Gita. So, what is there in the Bhagavad Gita is elaborately explained in the Bhagavatam. Or whatever is in the Bhagavatam, in a very, very concise way, Krishna has stated in the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if you want to know what is there in the Vedas, the complete body of all knowledge, you simply have to study two scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavat. That's complete. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended that you study just two scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavat. And that's exactly what Prabhupada has presented for our benefit, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Of course, Prabhupada has given us Chaitanya Charitamrita also, because Chaitanya Charitamrita highlights the speciality of the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. It particularly highlights this. Now what I am telling you, what is there in the Bhagavad Gita is there in the Bhagavatam elaborately explained, or what is there in the Bhagavatam is concisely explained in the Bhagavad Gita, is told in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So another special literature in our Sampradaya is this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, now let me come to this today's verse. I not even started chanting. So I am reading from 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, text number 18. Ko va amushya angri saroja renum vismartum ishita kuman vijigran yo vispurad bhru vitapena bhume bharam krita antena tirashchakara kova amushyangri sarojarenam vismartumi shita puman vijigran Yo vispurad bhruvitapena bhume bharam krutantena tirashchakara. Since I don't have time, I've taken away too much time in the introduction, so please allow me to directly go to the translation and purport. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, could ever forget it, simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth. Please repeat this translation after me. Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet, even once, could ever forget it, simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who are burdening the earth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though he played the role of an obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burdening the earth. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So this is a verse spoken by Uddhava. He is answering some questions by Vidura. Vidura was on a pilgrimage and he happened to come to Badrikashram and he happened to meet Uddhava. So when Vidura inquired from Uddhava about the Yadavas and particularly about Krishna. So by the time Vidura, who was traveling on pilgrimage all over the Bharatvarsha, by the time he came to Badrikashram, Krishna had actually disappeared, had wound up his leelas and gone back to his personal abode. So Uddhava was staying back on Krishna's instruction and he was experiencing intense separation from Krishna. So when Vidura inquired about Krishna, immediately Vidura went into the ecstasy of remembering Krishna, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's qualities, Krishna's form, Krishna's devotees, everything he manifested when he was present as an incarnation on this earth. So while recollecting, he is telling, Uddhava is telling Vidura about Krishna, who after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, that Krishna is not an ordinary person, is very evident in everything about Krishna. His birth, his activities, his qualities, his interactions, his dealings with his devotees, everything. And Krishna just summarizes that in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjana. One who understands in truth the transcendental nature of my birth and activities does not, upon leaving this body, ever take birth again in this world, but will come back to me. This is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. The same point is being explained about Krishna by Uddhava in his reply to Vidura, that if somebody, some or the other, comes in contact with Krishna even for a brief moment, that contact with Krishna is the result of such contact is that person is immediately able to achieve the highest perfection of life. What happens? If somebody, for example, he's giving an example here, somebody was able to smell the dust of his lotus feet. This has got a background that Krishna's form has got a fragrance. Has got a fragrance. But that is true even of the residents of the heavenly planets and the planets above that. Their forms also, their bodies have got fragrance. But the fragrance of Krishna's form is not comparable to the fragrance of anybody else's form. What is the speciality of the fragrance of Krishna's form? If one is able to get the fragrance of Krishna's form even for a very, very brief moment, that person can never forget that. Forever he will actually be having that memory of that fragrance. This is the absolute nature of coming in contact with Krishna. If somebody gets a glimpse of Krishna's beautiful form, the most beautiful form, one can never forget that beautiful form. Never forget. Eternally, one will be having that form in his heart. If one is able to hear Krishna playing on his flute for just a moment, that wonderful, melodious, extraordinary, sweet music will forever remain in the person's heart. Be completely absorbed in relishing, in enjoying, in deriving unlimited pleasure. That person goes into ecstasy and never comes out of it. It does not stop, it does not end. This is Krishna. So Uddhava is describing who is Krishna that he is missing. What is that personality like? After smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, one can never forget that. And then, one more thing about Krishna, Uddhava is telling here. Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, there is a background for this. Once there was, before Krishna's appearance, long back, there was one demon, Hiranyakashipu. He terrorized the whole universe. All the devatas, including Brahma and Shiva, they were all unable to actually curtail the terrorist activities of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu had become so powerful that all the devatas simply had to serve him and simply obey his commands. If he becomes slightly angry and raises his eyebrows, all the demigods will start trembling with fear. They think this is end of our life. That Hiranyakashipu was a terror for the whole universe. All the devatas were harassed by him. Then all the devatas went to Vishnu, the ultimate shelter, Vishnu. So they went to Vishnu and said, this Hiranyakashipu is impossible to deal with. We tried everything possible to somehow pacify him, but impossible for us, not possible. So Vishnu said, don't worry. I will appear when he will have a son who will be a great devotee of the Supreme Lord, and Hiranyakashipu will try to give trouble to his son. But he cannot do anything to his son, pure devotee son. But if he tries to torture him, immediately I'll appear and finish off that fellow. Don't worry, just wait some time. So the devatas are anxiously waiting. And who appeared? Narasimha. Narasimha appeared. So, as usual, because he had enmity against Vishnu, this Hiranyakashipu, because Vishnu killed his brother, Hiranyaksha. So he became very angry against Vishnu. Where is that Vishnu? So he's searching for Vishnu everywhere. But demons, where can they find God? First of all, they think there is no God. But if God is there, he is described as Vishnu or some incarnation. So he went around searching, he could not find. And then somebody told, he is actually hidden in the heart of every living being. So examining his heart, he is not finding anybody. He is examining others' heart, he is not finding anybody. So where is this Vishnu? Oh, he is afraid of me. So he's gone into hiding. Somewhere he is hiding. So he concluded that his power is actually, he is the most powerful personality. Nobody, including Vishnu, can overpower him, can challenge him. So like that he was going on giving trouble to the other devatas. So but when Narasimha appeared, and how did Narasimha appear? When Hiranyakashipu was unable to give any trouble to his son, and then he said, "Where is your Vishnu?" First of all, yes, what is the source of your power? So Prahlad said, the source of my power is the source of everyone's power. Your power also is coming from the same Supreme Lord Vishnu. Vishnu, moment he heard the name Vishnu, he became very angry. Where is your Vishnu? Because he's been searching Vishnu, he's not getting Vishnu. So where is that Vishnu who is giving you so much protection? Prahlad said, he's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? Yes. So let me see your Vishnu inside this pillar. He thought, what is pillar after all? Simply this boy is telling something. Small boy, what does he know? What is pillar made of? He's everywhere, so he's in the pillar also. Yes. He struck his fist, and he's a very powerful person. There was a crack in that pillar. It's a solid pillar. Huh? And then from the crack, there came a sound that actually spread throughout the universe. It seemed like the whole universe is going to be completely destroyed. Hiranyakashipu had some tremors in his body. What is the sound? And before he could figure out what that sound was, out of that pillar came Narasimha. And you know the story. So this is the Supreme Lord as Vishnu. But in all other forms, other than Krishna's original form, the Lord is engaged in specific activities meant for specific purposes. But as Krishna, he has nothing to do. So the impersonalists, when they read this in the scriptures, the absolute truth has nothing to do. Then they think absolute truth is inactive. But that's a mistake. Just because he has nothing to do doesn't mean he's inactive. He is active. But he's active performing his wonderful pastimes with his devotees. Krishna is always engaged in wonderful pastimes with his devotees. What are the devotees doing? Devotees also have nothing to do, like Krishna. Krishna has nothing to do, devotees also have nothing to do. But doesn't mean devotees are inactive either. Devotees are busy serving Krishna in order to please him. And what does Krishna do? He is busy serving his devotees in order to please them. So both are happily engaged. They have nothing to do otherwise. So devotees are engaged in serving Krishna. Krishna is engaged in serving his devotees. This is the confidential mystery about the personality called Krishna, and even the confidential mystery of his pure devotees. That also nobody can understand. Who are these devotees of Krishna? Like Narada. Very mysterious personality in the whole universe. People can understand Brahma. People can understand Shiva. Big Vedic scholars and big sages and big tapasvis, and they can understand the personality of everyone in this creation except Narada. Narada, who is this person, Narada? What is he doing? He's simply going, Narayana, 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 Narayana. But somebody asks him something, out comes from his mouth most profound wisdom. Sometimes Brahma also is at a loss to answer some questions by some great sages. But Narada, he is always. And Narada doesn't take any sides. Even though he is supposed to belong to the category of the Devatas, he is a Rishi among Devatas, Deva Rishi. That is the official position in the upper planets, Deva Rishi. But he has nothing to do, because simply he is traveling everywhere, Narayana, Narayana. And if somebody has some difficulty, somebody wants to ask some question, they are free to ask him. And he'll answer. Somebody has some problem, he'll solve their problem. So very, very mysterious personality. Similarly, if somebody comes to know there is a personality called Krishna, not easy to know about Krishna as a person, they come to know, they try to study the personality of Krishna, they can never understand. What is this personality of Krishna? So this is one of the reasons Krishna doesn't have to use any weapon to kill anybody. You see his Vrindavan Leela. Any demon attacked, Krishna would sportingly simply kill the demon. Putana came to kill Krishna. Deadly poison. But what did Krishna do? Like a child, when it offered the breast milk, it will drink the breast milk. That's all. She came disguised as a nurse, Dhatri. And she fed her breast milk, but she had smeared poison to kill the child. What did Krishna do? Simply sucked her breast, that's all. Like any child would suck. But what happened? Krishna sucked out not her milk, but the life air. Prana, finished. He sucked out the prana. Putana is dead. So who can understand this? Then one Shakatasura, one demon came in the shape of a cart. Krishna is a small 3-month-old baby was lying underneath the cart. So the child was feeling that my mother has left me because Yashoda got busy with something, other household duties. So she left the child underneath the cart. Krishna just lifted his leg and just his leg touched the cart. The cart completely got destroyed, broken into pieces, and everything got scattered. Krishna had killed the demon, Shakatasura. Another demon came in the form of a big crane, big beaks. So he tried to attack Krishna with his beaks. Krishna simply, with his 2 small hands, he separated the beaks. Finished. The demon is finished. So Krishna never used any of his weapons in Vrindavan. But people think when he was fighting as a prince against Jarasandha in Mathura, or against so many other demons and or even enemies in Dwarka, he was using weapons. But even then, the reality is, the fact is, the use of the weapon is simply an external show by Krishna. Because he's king, he's prince. Kshatriya. How will a Kshatriya fight? With some weapons. Correct? So, for ordinary people, Krishna is just another Kshatriya. If he killed somebody, he killed using some weapon. But how did he kill? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrow, he could kill. That's why Uddhava is telling, who's in knowledge about Krishna's confidential personality, simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrow, like this Krishna does, what happens? Given the death blow to those who are burdening the earth was overburdened by so many demons posing as kings, and they were simply harassing the devotees and the innocent citizens. So Brahma went along with Mother Earth to Vishnu and prayed that reduce the burden of the earth. So Vishnu said, yes, it will happen, don't worry. And then original Lord Krishna himself appeared. And then what did he do to finish off this burden of the earth? He killed all these demons. Killed all these demons. But what he had to do to kill the demons, even as a prince or a king, he didn't have to do anything. Simply his will. Sometimes to express his will, what? He would raise his eyebrow. Finished. The demon is dead, killed. So this is the point Prabhupada is explaining the purport. Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though he played the role of an obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burning the earth. All the asuras, everyone was finished. Simply by Krishna's will. So that is the personality of Krishna. He is not an ordinary human being. He is the supreme absolute truth. And that also is told in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. I am the supreme controller of everyone. Bhuta maheshwaram. Param bhavam. His transcendental nature of his personality. He is not an ordinary human being. He is not a coward boy. He is not a prince. He is not a king. He is not a kshatriya. So that foolish people cannot understand. They ridicule him as an ordinary human being. All the asuras, all the demonic natured people. So, even Arjuna, what does he declare in the Bhagavad Gita? Krishna, you are the supreme absolute truth. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashwatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam, Vibhum. So many ways Arjuna is describing Krishna. Supreme absolute truth, supreme pure, supreme resting place for everyone and everything. Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam, supreme pure. Supreme pure. So like that, the personality of Krishna is there and explained properly, accurately, very nicely, clear in the Bhagavad Gita and detailed in the Bhagavatam by actual description of his qualities, his activities, his forms, his devotees, his abode, his relationships, everything is there in the Bhagavatam in detail. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,